I don't know if this is good or bad, but consider this. The government broke a record in the latest period, over the first 10 months of the fiscal year, collecting $2.6 trillion in taxes. $2.6 trillion in taxes. You got another couple of months of the fiscal year to go. Surely that should be enough to keep us going, right? We shouldn't run any deficits with all of that tax money coming in, but we are. And in fact, we're bragging about the fact that this latest deficit is on track to being, maybe under $430 billion or so, as if we've hit a home run. Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn says, hello, we're not. But I tell you, Congresswoman, it is amazing that we brag about this. Now, I guess because it wasn't that long ago, you know, we had trillion-dollar deficits, but any dollar more that we're spending than we're taking in is added to that debt that last time I checked was well over 18 trillion. What do you make of the whooping IA that we're getting at with these numbers?
Well, I think it's a misplaced celebration, if you will. We're still borrowing 14 cents of every dollar that we spend. And we don't have a revenue problem. That is very evident. What we have is a spending problem, and the spending side is what we need to tackle.
You know what I was amazed at, and you know these numbers far better than I, Congresswoman, is, man, you're taking in $2.6 trillion over 10 months of a fiscal year. You still have another couple of months to go.
Right.
You should be able to finance our government without much worry with just that money. In fact, you should be able to really find some cost savings there so you can give a lot of that money back to taxpayers of all sorts. But
You're
no,
right.
no.
Yeah.
What happens?
Well, and this is one of the reasons some of us at the Budget Committee are so focused on reining in the discretionary spending times, which if you go back and just look over the past 2 decades, discretionary spending, whether Republican or Democrat, it has increased by 47%. You look at overall spending, it has outpaced inflation by 63%.
And
so
it happens, Congresswoman, in both administrations, Republican, Democratic administration, they try to get a handle on it, they try to rein it in. There must be something endemic in the system that makes that next to impossible. But I suspect who's ever elected president in November of next year will be dealing with this again. And we'll be talking about, do you remember when it was 18 trillion? Now it's going to be 23, 24 trillion. Where's this going?
Well, here's where you need to go to make those cuts. Look at the major components. You've got health care costs, Social Security, Medicare, and then you have the interest on the debt. Right now, we're keeping those expenses down because the interest rates have been low. But what I've been doing is offering 1% across the board cut amendments. That would save $1.2 billion out of just the 4 appropriations bills we've done so far, Neil. And that is where the focus has to be, reforms on entitlements, stabilization
but, you know, in the aggregate, everyone agrees with
Security.
that, Congressman. Everyone agrees, yeah, we got to get entitlements under control. Until you get into the brass tacks of it and look at all the heat Chris Christie's been taking of the prominent presidential candidates. He's the only one who said we got to do something about Social Security. We've got to means test it. We've got to advance the age. In his case, he was saying over 25 years. But nevertheless, he's ripped a new one. So when people say, yeah, I agree with you, as long as it's not my Social Security, as long as it's not my Medicare, as long as it's not my Medicaid, then they drop you, you know, like
well,
bad
but
news.
here's the difference. Here's the difference, and here's a plan. You keep it as it is for your near retirees and retirees. The millennials who are saying you've got to do something about this, then you come up with a new approach that is going to enable them to get the money back that they have been paying in. And then you look at your health care costs, Medicaid, which is the largest of your entitlements, and you find a new way to deliver those benefits. Maybe it's block granting it back to the states. The point is this: you cannot continue to rack up this debt. There has to be a plan to pay down the debt.
But even when you do that, Congressman, and I give you credit because you've advanced this argument before,
yes.
and you've been brave enough to tell it and survive it. God bless you. But I'm just saying that when people go on that third rail, touch that third rail, you're crucified, and they say you're trying to kill grandma, throw her off a cliff. You know the drill. Why aren't Republicans of all stripes ready to do that, to be honest with the American people?
Well, and I think that no budget gimmicks, no tricks, honesty, these are the problems. And the problems are we are spending ourselves into oblivion.
Yeah.
And when you have the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, July 6, 2010, saying the greatest threat to our nation's security is our nation's debt,
absolutely,
you better be getting your house in order.
All right.
And it is time for us to do that. And I hope that my colleagues will join me in trying to say no more borrowing 14 cents of a dollar.
Yeah, the American people are more grown-up and adult than either party realizes. We'll watch it closely.
Absolutely.
Congresswoman,
You're right.
thank you very, very
Absolutely.
much. We are getting updates on these.